Unfortunately, this is probably the last time you will see me in this Concept New Era YouTube setup because I am moving. But despite all of that, I wanted to give you 5 useful tips that might help you actually create your own YouTube setup. It's also unfortunate that it's freaking cold in San Diego. So, without further ado, let's go. The first tip is just gonna be the most useful items you could ever have for a YouTube setup, and that's gonna be some Velcro ties as well as some 3M double-sided tape. The reason why the Velcro ties are super helpful is because they're gonna help you particularly with cable management. You can see that it's all over my desk, this iPhone wire, the mouse, the keyboard, and all that jazz. And I even actually use it for what's under the desk. And as you can see, the Velcro ties are actually keeping the cables off the ground. That's kind of the biggest thing here outside of how neat it keeps it. And also when someone walks in the room, they're not gonna see a bunch of hanging wires under their desk. They're just gonna see the computer up top and basically just empty feet space down here. And if you're like me and have a bunch of electronics everywhere, like cameras, gimbals, TV, games, whatever, you're gonna find a lot of nifty uses for the Velcro ties. You can see that I use it for my charging station that's set up over here. And of course the TV that's way up over there. I'll be honest, I should have done it a bit better, but this gets the job done for me. And with the double-sided tape, you're gonna basically be able to put a lot of things in really useful places up off the ground. So that's what I did with the power strip right here. I used the double-sided tape to basically just attach it to under this desk. I did the same thing with the power strip right here, as well as the extension cord that reaches all the way out here for the TV and the Nintendo Switch. And just like the Velcro ties, you're gonna find a lot of nifty ways to use the double-sided tape as well. For example, this poster back here, it actually uses magnets, but everything around it, the hexagons, are attached to the wall with that double-sided tape. If you're finding this video useful so far, don't forget to hit that like button and definitely do not forget to subscribe because you know I'd love to have you. And let's get back to whatever tip we were on. Tip number 2 is going to be another pretty useful item. It's actually my favorite item in this whole room when it comes to the setup, and that's gonna be my power strips because they also have the USB inserts on them. We're gonna use my charging station as an example. So you can see here, if I take these 2 big plugs out, that there's 5 outlets and there's 3 USB plugs right here. And that is awesome because since everything today works on USB outlets or inserts, there's effectively 8 plugs here and I don't have to use every single plug. It just gives me access to so many other options when it comes to charging whatever I want. And that's the same situation right under my PC. So you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outlets, and then you also have the 3 USB inserts. But under my desk, I don't really need anything other than the phone charger, which actually brings up a good point. Because of these USB outlets being there on these different power strips, I essentially have really smartly placed phone chargers all over my room, so I don't have to be charging with an outlet across the room where I can't even reach my phone. The reason why I love these power strips with the USB inserts is because it just allows so much more utility in your room. It allows you to be so much more strategic about how you place things inside of your setup. Tip number 3 is going to be floating shelves, or just generally finding ways to keep things up off the ground. Now, floating shelves are a really good place to start when it comes to keeping things up off the ground. And the reason you want to keep things up off the ground is because that's just going to give you a lot more space in your room. You can see that I have the TV, the floating shelf, and then the charging station. And because of the way I have it set up, it's so easy for me to coordinate and be organized with a bunch of different items that I have. Now, I could have done this corner a lot better. The snowboard right behind me, should have probably put it up, same with the swords, but I've organized it in a way that doesn't make me feel so tight and congested in my room. So that's something for you to consider as well. So the 4th tip is going to be concerning audio. If you're doing a YouTube studio or some sort of studio setup in your house, I'm assuming that you're gonna be filming and talking. And if your room is anything like mine, you're gonna get a little bit of echo. So the way I tackled that is by setting up things around my room so that my voice doesn't bounce off the corners of the walls. Now, some people like to put up a blanket or something like that. I just found that a little bit too tedious to do every single time. And another way I helped address the echo in my room is by actually keeping the front door open, even the door by the closet open, just so that my voice disperses out instead of, once again, the corners. This is what helped me a little bit, and it might just help you. And tip number 5 is going to be lighting. Now, I understand that you might not have tons of money to blow on lights like these tubes in the corners here because they're kind of expensive, but I'm gonna show you what I started out with, and that could probably give you a little bit of a jump start. Just like anyone else who's doing their room design for the first time, I started with these LED light strips. I think they really look cool going around my desk. However, you do wanna be tasteful about it. I think those lights are best used as accents, kind of like what I did with my TV. I just put the strips right behind over here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then what I did is I paired these strip lights with the light bulbs right here. These are RGB light bulbs. And as you can see, I did that orange and blue split with them because San Diego evening colors, it's my style. It's what I really like. And I also then all together brought that with the nano leaves. Now these are a little bit expensive. I think they're around $200 or something. I could be wrong. You might have to look it up. But these kind of just gave the finishing touch to the strip lights, to the bulbs, to whatever else you see in the room. Also, something you can use as a practical light in your background if you have this sort of setup is your computer. If you have a laptop, you could place it in the back there too. You just want to put some tasteful or complementary graphic on the screen itself. I put my Naruto clan, Uchiha clan reppin' baby up here, so it matches my orange and blues. And let me give you a cool little concept new era hack if you shoot at night like me. If you have a window next to your setup, you can actually use that window as a reflection. You guys can see that my nano leaves and all the lights over here are just reflecting over there, so my set is actually wider than you think it is in camera. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is likely the last time we're gonna see this setup in action. But if you wanna see an in-depth view of how I put together this cool little place of mine, I will leave a video to that right over here. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week. Well, actually, I'm kind of going through a whole moving process, so it's gonna kind of be just like in and out for the next few weeks. So whenever I see you,